me okay? Let me see. I'm live on Instagram, but my camera's facing the wrong way. How do I turn that around? Shoot. How do I turn it around? No, I don't want to cancel, but hang on. I don't know how to turn my camera around. Right now my camera is facing. Here it is. Turn it around. There you go. Oh my goodness, look at all the people. Hello, hello. Hello. Oh, thank you, lipstick. Thank you. It's the holidays, you know, we need special lipsticky things. Okay. Oh, my heavens, look at everybody. Hello, hello, hello. Ah, oh, boy, don't you all make a girl feel good. Well, it's so wonderful to see you all. Thank you for being here. It's so great to see you. I want to start with a question. I do want to, waving back all the wavings. Hi. I do want to ask a question. So we go live on Mondays and we do the card reading of the week for the collective. We do the individual card readings when we have time. We do the channeled information that comes into me from Spirit. What kind of things would you all like to see in the new year? There's some questions going on in my community, and by that mostly I mean in my head, about what kind of things to offer in the new year. I am still working on some online courses. I am working on my book. Still looking forward to 2 weeks off so we'll have this week and probably next week, and then the last couple of weeks of the year, probably first week of the new year. I'll take some time off. I'm really looking forward to having some time to sit and write and to get some things recorded so we can get some online classes available for you. But what kind of things would you all like to see in the new year? Would you like more card readings? Would you like to do some mediumship events? Would you like coaching? Would you like, I don't know. So I want to make some events and things, options available for all of you so that I can be best in service for you. So if there's things you've been thinking about, you can throw it in the comments, or if you want to DM me, that's okay too. Always is a good thing. And I am, looking for what we can do that might be different in the new year. So I'm also looking at where we will be doing this. And so I'm okay, great. Coaching and mediumship. Okay, great. I'm also looking at where we might be doing this, because there's so much going on with Facebook of just aren't we all tired of the spammers? And so I'm not really sure where, to go. A friend of mine has suggested we move over to TikTok. So I'm not sure what anybody's thoughts are about that. And I am asking, ultimately, it's not so much democracy of voting, but it is about knowing what your thoughts are, because probably most of you have a lot more experience in TikTok than I do. So if you have some thoughts about, what would be a good platform for us, I definitely want to hear about it. No TikTok. Chris says no TikTok. Hi, Priscilla. Everybody wants to send healing, love, and energy to our friend Priscilla, who had some surgery the other day, so we're sending lots of healing vibes. Okay. So, I'm looking for suggestions. I am open to suggestions. And ultimately, just looking for, what you all think, and then we'll make the decisions that are, that feel right with me into, spirit and things like that. But, we're just really looking at how we can grow our community without having to deal with so much of the garbage. And because when I come on, I want to put my energy to you all and not to, dealing with spammers. So definitely open to suggestions. So there's that. And I do have a profile on Clubhouse, but one of the things that I miss about that is there's not that ability to see you as much or things like that. So I would, love to, at least in this I can see your little tiny pictures. But, I would love your thoughts. And so, feel free to message me, or you can email me, or you can comment. I'm definitely interested in what you all have to say. So, all right, let's talk about some of the stuff that is going Things so healing went much more smoothly than you're well, and that's what happens, Priscilla. We have, where we get into our own heads about stuff, right? We have anxiety, and we just allow things to just build out into into big things. So Zoom, okay, a couple of people suggesting Zoom. Yes, we do have Zoom. We can definitely use Zoom, and that would mean that we would have to post post a link, or you would have to register so that we keep the spammers out of Zoom. We can definitely use Zoom for some events. We've done some mediumship events and some fundraisers there. I would like to do another fundraiser for some of the youth-oriented grief organizations like Deggy Center in Portland, Oregon. There is one here in town that we're making connections with. So Zoom, yes, is definitely a thing. The difference with Zoom is you have to physically go there. You can't just, like, oh, Sherry's talking on Instagram or Facebook and it just pops up. You would have to physically log in. And we could send links, out so that, people would be available to join. And we could password protect it on Zoom as well. So we could post a Zoom link here, but you would have to do something to get the password, so we keep the spammers out. Things to think about. But like I said, I'm open. I'm definitely open to your feedback. If you all would, I don't know if I can make a survey on the page, but if you all have, keep the comments coming. I read the comments, and let's, see what you all think. So, because it may be time for us to leave Facebook or at least downshift from Facebook, for a lot of reasons. And if you've been following me for a while, I've been kind of thinking about this for a while. So, I don't want to lose the ability to connect with all of you because you're so important to me. But at the same time, I want to make sure that our time is spent without intruders. So, okay. So we have had the full moon. The energy is coming down, and I don't know about any of you. I think, Chris, are you an admin on this page? You should be an admin on this page. I don't know about you all, but this full moon was a doozy, right? This last full moon in Gemini was just... Okay, as the sun moves into, we can definitely talk about that. The sun has moved into Sagittarius and will move into Capricorn in another couple of days. And it is, this has been a heavy energy. And, we have the Gemini it is heavy because also Mars was moving, and we had talked about that a bit last week, that Mars was moving forward, and Mars is a really heavy energy. But Gemini has the energy of the twins, right? And so sometimes you can get this yin and yang, or you can get this heaviness that is, the like 2 for 1. And so if you're having this energetic, feeling or this energetic connection because of that full moon, it can feel like a double whammy with Gemini. And we still have some eclipse, energy that was floating around as we're kind of to the tail end of the eclipse seasons. And also there's still the asteroids, even though the peaks of asteroid season is done, now as like the Leonids, and there's like 3 or 4 different asteroid things, but there was like a lot of asteroid activity going on. Thank you for sharing. And there's been a lot of energy happening in the solar system. So it has felt, at least for me in this past moon cycle, has felt very much like riding a roller coaster, and I don't know if anybody can relate to that. But I think one of the things that's so important is that we continue to just breathe, and we continue to, ground ourselves into the earth. And whether you're, physically able to put your feet on the ground, or you're just visualizing putting your feet into the ground. I have friends who live in apartments in New York City that they have like what would be the equivalent of like a litter box without a lid, like the tray from a cat box, and they grow grass in it. They don't even have pets, but they grow grass in it just so that they can stand in the grass and the earth, and they just use that as a way to earth in their home. There are so many different ways, you can touch a tree, even household plants. So, oh, thank you, sweetheart. Right, it has been tough. All right, rest well, Priscilla. Don't overdo it. It takes time. Even if it was a minor, surgery, it's still a shock to your system. It throws all your energies out of whack, and it's just going to take time to. It's like donating blood. It just takes time for your body to to recenter itself. So you rest, and I'm so happy to see your name pop up. And okay, so it has been a very energetic and tumultuous period of time, and so it's so important that even if you have a house plant, like I have several house plants, and sometimes I talk to the house plants. I have to be careful because I also have cats, so I want to make sure that my house plants they're not big. Before we had kids, we had big house plants, but now the kittens will like dig in the dirt, so we try not to do that. But we have oh, look, Samantha, look, a spammer. We just ban you right out. Just ban, bye. See, bye. And so yep, we'll just keep banning you. Yep, you're banned. Okay, so we try to be very careful about the plants because we still do have kittens. Although I will tell you that I also have a Lego set of it's a bird of paradise that my son bought me I think for my birthday last year, and it's Lego, and the kitten has not yet figured out that it's not a real plant, which cracks me up endlessly. But even just my house plants that are small enough to not get the cat involved, to just touch the leaves, and when I'm watering them, I talk to them, and to really just connect in with them, because they are still connected. Even though the plant is in a pot, they are still connected to the earth. And one of the things that's so interesting about the collective consciousness of plants is that whether they are physically connected by the roots or not, they are connected by this collective consciousness. And all of the trees and the shrubs and the grass and the things out in the yards, they are all connected as well. They are connected by roots and micro roots and fibers where they just touch. We have a thing in my synagogue where at the end of the services on Friday night, we say the blessing over the wine and the blessing over the bread. The bread is the challah. It's that braided egg bread. And we have a thing in the temple where somebody will hold, usually a kid will come up front and hold the challah, and everybody will say the blessing. But everyone comes forward, and we touch the plate or we touch the challah, and clean hands. We always do hand sanitizer first. But if you're not close enough that you can get in to touch the plate or the bread, you put your hand on the shoulder in front of you, and so everyone is connected. So if you're not connected to the actual plate, you're connected to somebody who is. And that's where we can bring in this collective energy, this blessing of the love that goes in and then spreads back out again. And that's how the trees work, the same way. So if they're not connected to, the thing, they're connected to something that's connected to connected. And it's, what is that thing they say, 6 degrees of separation or of trees, right? So no Kevin Bacon needed, it's trees. And so we are that way as well. We are connected in that way. We connect through our energy, through our heart, through the words, the kindness, the time that we share, whether it's seeing your little profile pictures on the sides here when you come online, or seeing your faces if we do something like Zoom or things like that. It is so wonderful to be able to connect, because we are that way. We connect that way as well. My kitty eats some of the plants, but he mostly does like jungle cat, like where he like climbs in the leaves and he, puts his face in the leaves. And so he pretends he's a jungle cat. You can spray things on the leaves that will help them not want to munch on them, like a little water with maybe some dish soap or some lemon oil. Lemon juice that'll make it where they're not like or even some garlic. You can put just something that makes the leaves not taste good to the cats, and then they won't eat the leaves. But it is about connection, and this is one of the things that I feel like I really wanted to talk about, was really being put into my heart to talk about, is connection. How do we grow our connection? And it really does connect with what we were talking about from the beginning. How can we as a community connect better, connect more genuinely, connect more, just more? Is it through Facebook? Is it through Zoom? Is it through TikTok or Clubhouse, or how do we connect more? And it's something that is so important to me, because I feel like the next steps, even though we've worked hard to build this amazing community on Facebook, our next place for us to go, where is that? How is that? Because while I love seeing your comments, I would love to have more interaction with you. I would love to see us have a Zoom or something where we could have more connection to each other. And so these are the things that I feel like are really important as we're going forward, is understanding our connection to each other, understanding our connection to those that are around us, those who are different, those who are not, maybe have different views. It's so important that we understand, like the trees, we are connected, and that we should act on that. So that we are building our community of light and not having to worry so much about spammers and banning people, but being able to welcome people more in. So again, I'm open to any of the suggestions that you may have, because I know there's, an abundance of social media or connection, collective connection, platforms that we can utilize. And that is one of the really big blessings that came out of COVID, is having so many more ways that we can connect with each other. And so I do want to hear what you all think. And so what I want to say also right now, as we're moving where the sun is going to move into Sagittarius, it's going to move into Capricorn, because we're coming into this place where we're going to have the new moon in a couple of days. And one of the things I think is so important is understanding, what is it that you can let go of for this year? Because, right, we had the full moon, right? But now we're going to have into this new moon is, what do we want to bring in for the new year? Where are we going? Where are we going? And one of my very dear friends called today to ask me that very question. Where are we going in this new year? And it's time for us to think about it. We've talked about this a little bit. Whatever is in 2022, we can leave it in 2022 and let it go. Let it go. Leave it here. And to be able to move into 2023 with peace in our hearts and some confidence and some calm, that this is the time. 23 is going to be the time to grow. So 23 is going to be about me. And I don't mean me, I mean you, right? Like we. So 23 is about we, about me. Like, where do I want to grow? And when I say this, I want you to say this. Where do I want to grow? Not just, it's not about me, it's about we. So how do we move forward? How do we grow? How do we come together and connect with each other in a better way? So I want you to say to yourself, 23 is about me, right? What do I want to bring forward in the 23 year, right? What do I want to be, how do I want to connect with people, and how do I want to connect people so that we're connecting each other together, right? Zach wants to be a light for people who are going through trauma and healing, and connecting Judaism and transgender journeys. I think that's powerful and beautiful. I have several friends here in Central Florida that are in the Jewish transgender community, and it's such a blessing. We've enjoyed having my friends of ours, actually Jake and Alex, are having their wedding anniversary today, and they've been guests in our home for Jewish holidays. It's such a joy. But here's the thing, don't overthink it. Don't overthink it, right? Because don't we just get in our heads, right? Even Priscilla made that comment before. Don't we just get in our heads, right? Where something is like, oh, right? And even my friend who asked me today, it's like, well, what do you want to create in 23? And I was like, and it's things I've been thinking about. But as he was kind of poking me into discomfort to push me a bit, and I was like, and I could feel it, like that overthinking was starting for me. And I kept saying to myself, okay, just don't overthink it, just allow things to come in. And so I really want to encourage you for that as well. As you are thinking about what is it that you are working on, that you want to create, cultivate, and connect. Those are our 3 C's for 2023. Create, cultivate, and connect. I'm even going to write that down because that just literally just came in. Thank you everyone. Thank you to Spirit. Create, cultivate, and connect. So this is going to be our mantra for 23. Create, cultivate and connect. What do you want to create in 2023? What are you going to cultivate to grow? Once you've created something, you've planted those seeds, how are you going to cultivate it? And how are you going to connect with other people? How are you going to connect with those who need to grow, who have the opportunity to grow? You know, President Biden is going to sign the marriage equality bill today at the White House that will protect marriage equality for interracial and same-sex couples. It is monumental to see this codified into law. And what is so fascinating is that an evangelical pastor, a big leader of a huge church here in Central Florida, was invited to come to the White House and be part of the signing ceremony because he has been someone in our community willing to grow, willing to learn and to grow. He is somebody who was willing to come into Central Florida, come into the LGBTQ plus community and to say, hey, wait a minute, there's more to this, and to build bridges and bring people together. And so he was invited to come to the White House. This is somebody who was willing to stand up and say, I need to learn more. I need to change. I need to shift. I need to open. I need to connect with love. And we need more of that. We need so much more of that. And so how do we connect with love? How do we bring people in? So as we are looking at what are we going to be building in 23, I want to give you these key words that were literally just given to me. What am I creating, cultivating, and how am I connecting to others in this new year? And so whatever it was that you didn't accomplish in 22, let it go. Whatever didn't get resolved in 2022, relationships that maybe didn't get healed, or projects that didn't get finished, or whatever it was, just let it go, let it go, let it go, let it go. Oh, look, Tiwa, banned. We're going to ban you. Bye. Banned from page. Okay. So I really appreciate that. Facebook makes it so much easier for us to ban the spammers nowadays, which is super helpful. So, oh, thank you so much, sweetheart. It is, I appreciate that. Create, cultivate, and connect. How are you going to connect with others? What is it that you are going to create and cultivate for the new 23 year? And not worrying about whatever didn't happen in 2022. Letting it go. This is the time to search for new info in ourselves, in our higher consciousness. And so I really want to encourage you as we're coming now into the last 2 weeks of 2022, just find some time to sit quietly and really allow yourself to connect in with your higher guidance, but more importantly, to connect in with your heart. What is it that you want to learn in 23? We are seeking new information. We are like not machines, but like organisms. We are organisms, and we are seeking new input, seeking new experiences, seeking new information. So what information are you seeking in this new year? What are you wanting to learn? Is it, I want to learn to know myself better. I want to learn to be a better communicator. I want to learn to read tarot cards or oracle cards. I want to learn, Spanish or what, there's no wrong answer. But what is it that you want to learn? What new input or information? Maybe I want to learn to connect to my spirit guides or my animal guides. Maybe I want to learn how to trust my intuition. That's a biggie, right? I want to learn how to trust my intuition more. So allowing yourself some time to figure out what is it that we are creating, cultivating, and how are we connecting in this new year, but also asking, what is it you want to learn? Because when you figure out what it is that you want to learn, where is the next place that you want to go that you're going to allow your soul to expand, then what you're creating and cultivating is going to come in easily, because it's all going to be connected to that. Okay? Don't overthink it. Don't overthink it. We are so guilty of that, of overthinking. We think like, oh, I want to do this. Whoa, and all of a sudden the mind starts going of like, why I can't, right? And so our job is to say, no. And honestly, in all fairness, sometimes we need to use stronger language, and that is okay. Sometimes no is not enough, and it's not going to work. Sometimes we need to be like, okay, sit down and TFU, right? Sometimes we need stronger language, and that is okay. Right? But when we think about what it is we want to create and cultivate, immediately the ego, that other side of the brain kicks in. It's like, well, here's all the reasons why you can't. And we can get into this back and forth argument with ourselves where we build up this anxiety in our head and we make it into this gigantic thing of unknown because it's unknown. And so rather than trusting into our intuition and our soul guidance and the angels and the guides and our loved ones in spirit who love us so much, all of them love us so much. Our job is to lean in. Our job is to say, yeah. Ego, fear-based, small thinking, because all of those little things of why we can't are based on evidence that we have that we haven't already, right? Okay, so when I'm still a director with Mary Kay Cosmetics, and when we earned our first pink Cadillac, there was so much in my head about why we couldn't, because we hadn't ever. Now, we had earned multiple cars. I think the pink Cadillac was our 10th, 8th or 9th, I don't know, remember. But we hadn't earned a pink Cadillac yet. But that didn't mean that we couldn't earn a Cadillac. It just means we hadn't done it. We had earned many other cars, and there is evidence for all of us to say our success rate of handling and completing and doing all the things and obstacles and things that have come our way in the past is 100% because we are here. We are here. And if we hadn't achieved and accomplished and finished and tackled and climbed over all of those obstacles, we wouldn't be here. But we are. Which means our track record of accomplishing whatever it was is 100% because we've already done all those other things. Now, does that mean we can go from 0 to pink Cadillac or 0 to the mountaintop? Like, could I go out tomorrow with my, I'm running. And I'm very excited because in my running program, I can now run 1.5 miles. And this is very exciting because endurance was one of my big issues. It's not that I'm not strong, I'm not healthy. It's not that I'm not healthy, but it was endurance. I needed to build endurance. But the only way you can build endurance is by doing it over and over and over and over and over again, right? So I can now run, slow. I'm not super fast. 1.5 miles. I am very proud of that. But it doesn't mean that I can go out and run a marathon tomorrow. But what it does mean is that if I set that as my goal, I could build to it. Because my track record thus far of going from knee surgery to walking and taking, 45 minutes to just get around the little cul-de-sac that's out my front door to being able to run 1.5 miles in about 20 minutes, that track record is 100%. But I couldn't go tomorrow to run a marathon, but I could go tomorrow to work on building to that goal. Okay? So our track record of being able to do all these things is 100%, even if we haven't done it yet. But the part in the brain goes, oh, I couldn't run a marathon. I could never do that because I've never tried. It's actually not my goal. I really have no interest in running 26 miles. I don't understand why people want to do that. But I have friends who love it. It doesn't mean I couldn't. It means I haven't yet. And there's a very big difference when we get into our head and we are like, oh, I can't. Well, you can. You could. You just haven't. And there's a very big difference. Where we use all the reasons of why we can't because we haven't is not the same thing. Just because I haven't is not evidence that I can't. And that I haven't is evidence that I haven't. That I could. All the things that I've already done that have led me to this place are supporting evidence that I could. And so we want to think about things a little bit different. Because the minute we start to talk about what do I want to learn and what do I want to create and cultivate in the new 23 year, immediately we start to get the right, of why we can't. And so we want to change that. It's not can't, it's haven't. Okay? Now, be very clear. Your goal and your thing that you want to learn should come from the heart. It should not come from anybody else. It should not come from somebody who told you that you should do it. We didn't earn our pink Cadillac in Mary Kay until I was ready to do it. So many people said to me, oh, next goal, next goal. That's what you need to work on. That's what you need to work on. But until I was ready, it didn't happen. So it has to be the thing that's in your heart. And I know that this is the same thing with those of you who are with me, like me, working on, I want to write a book. Am I going to write a book? Am I finishing the book? When am I doing this? When you're ready, it will pour out of you. When you're ready. Now, sometimes we have to do things to get ready. Now, this does not mean we're fixing to get ready to setting it up and we're fixing to get ready for 1,000 years. That's not what I'm talking about. We have to get ready by putting ourselves in a position where we turn the ringer off on the phone, we close the email and social media, and we give ourselves quiet and space to do the things that we want to do. We prepare and we give ourselves every opportunity to be successful. Now, I'm not saying, like I said, I'm not saying we're going to get ready. That doesn't mean paint the house and reorganize, rearrange the furniture. No. Okay, that means we just put ourselves in the mindset. And because things like that can feel so overwhelming, one of the things that we start with is 30 minutes. 30 minutes. And those of you who've been around for a while, you may have heard me talk about 30 minutes. We can do anything for 30 minutes. We can do anything for 30 minutes, right? So we can do 30 minutes. We set a timer. We say, I'm going to write. I'm going to work on my book. Whatever it is that you are learning, okay? Maybe it's the language. Maybe it's stretching. Maybe it's to cook. Maybe whatever it is. For 30 minutes, set a timer. And don't be checking it. Put the timer over there, right? So that you're not, looking at it every 5 seconds. How much time? Set a timer so that you can just, okay, I don't have to worry about it. I know the timer's going to go off and it's time for the timer to go off. I don't have to worry about it. We're just going to relax and I'm going to focus. And it doesn't matter what I write. It doesn't matter how far I stretch. It doesn't matter if I make a mess with dropping eggs on the floor. It doesn't matter because I'm learning and I'm growing and I'm putting input in and I'm creating and cultivating. So we don't need to judge ourselves. We don't need to judge the progress. We don't need to judge the quality. We're not there yet, right? And we talked about last week about was it Rick Warren who has the Dream Giver speech, right? And I'm so sorry that I can't post this whole, it's an audio file and I can't post the audio file because I can only post a video or a picture. So the only way I could post the audio file would be to open a live and just let it play. Which maybe we'll have to do that. But one of the things that he talks about in the Dream Giver speech is talks about doing the work that you've been given. We take it one step at a time. And if you look at that post, I did go back and edit and put in the information that I really wanted to share about it. We do it one step at a time. We don't have to worry about running the marathon. I just have to worry about how am I going to, build myself, not how to, but I'm going to, my next step is, can I run 2 miles? I'm not worrying about 26 miles. I'm worrying about 2. Because right now I'm at 1.5. So really my next is going to be 1 3/4. We take it one step at a time. And so often we talk ourselves out of things, or we allow ourselves to be talked out of things because we think we have to go from 0 to 100 in one leap. And it's not how it goes. We take it one step at a time. You do the next best thing step forward. That's it. Worry about what is the next best thing. So talking to my son, he's coming home from college tomorrow. So excited. He's going to be home for the holiday break. And he's like, well, I got to da-da-da-da. And then when I get home, I got to da-da-da. I said, okay, well, we'll worry about all that stuff when you get home. First of all, finish taking your tests. Turn in all your work for your semester. So we're going to finish this semester. Then we're going to pack and get a good night's sleep. And tomorrow we're going to drive. We worry about the next best step. We're not worrying about the step that's 6 miles down the road. So these are the things that are coming in so strongly for you, for me, for we, as we are cultivating, creating, cultivating, and connecting for the 23 year. Because 23 should be about me. And when I say me, I'm not meaning me. I mean me for me, but for you to say 23 is about me. For you, what are you going to learn? What are you going to cultivate and create? And how are you going to connect in 23? And so these are the things I want to leave you with. And as you're allowing these things to come in, welcome them in. These thoughts, these ideas, these inspirations, welcome them in. You can filter them and sift them later. Welcome them. Do not stifle the flow of the energy. And this is what happens, right? I'm like, well, what do I want to create in 23? And all this idea starts coming in, and intuition and all these things. And we immediately want to turn off that fire hose. We want to crimp the fire hose. Don't do that. Let it come in and we'll filter it later, right? It's the same with the writing or the cooking or the breaking the eggs. Whatever. Don't clean it up now. Clean it up later, right? Don't edit the book while you're writing it. Just let stuff pour out of you. Because it's in the pouring out that we get to the good stuff. You know, there's a story about the college class of pottery, I think. And the professor said, you can be graded this year by building, as many pots as you possibly can. Or you can make one pot and I'll grade you on the quality of the pot. And so the lazy people said, okay, I'm just going to build one pot and it's going to be great and I'm going to be done for the semester. But the people who made pot after pot after pot, they're the ones who at the end of the semester had the most beautiful pots because they weren't worried about quality. It wasn't all riding on this one thing. They were just enjoying the process. They were letting the spirit and the intuition and the intention to just enjoy the process to flow through them. And they allowed themselves the opportunity to experiment and enjoy the journey. And they created the most beautiful and wonderful pots because they allowed the creativity and the energy to flow. So don't stifle that creativity as you're sitting to give yourself space and time to say, how do I want to start into 23? Whatever was in 22, we're letting it go. 23 is about me. What do I want to learn? Where am I going to create, cultivate, and how am I going to connect in 23? And allow it to flow. Don't edit it. Don't clean it. Don't fix it. Just let it just pour out of you. And after that, then you can go back and feel through the things like, this feels good. Oh, that seems exciting. Gee, I don't remember writing that down. That sounds cool. We can filter later. We don't need to filter now. Allow spirit to work through you. Allow your intuition to flow. Don't worry about cutting off that flow of energy by, oh, wait a minute. Just let it go. Don't worry about it. Don't censor. Don't censor, right? Censorship is bad. Don't censor. All right. I know that was a little extra long today. They really had a lot to say. I've got a little bit of a headache right now. They really had a lot to say. So let's do a couple of cards. I don't know if we're going to do individual card readings, but we're going to do, we'll definitely do some collective card readings, okay? And we'll start there and we'll see how we do, okay? All right, so we're going to grab some cards and see. I love to do the card reading after the channeling because the cards come in so clear to support whatever has been channeled because the cards are sitting right here on my desk and they're listening while we talk. So, some jumpers, a whole pile of them. Okay, we'll just pull out this one. Sometimes you have to not be confused between jumping cards and cards that are just me being a bad shuffler. So... All right, so the card that I grabbed that was at the top of the heap that jumped out. I'm sorry, I have to sneeze. Oh, excuse me. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so this is All That Glitters, and All That Glitters is card number 16. And so this is a reminder that we're not chasing the sparkly stuff. We're chasing what's deeper, but we're allowing the sparkly things to get our attention. The whole point of it is, thank you, the whole point of it is to let the sparkly stuff get our attention, and then we want to look a little deeper, right? We want to look a little deeper. Don't be caught up with those surface things, right? And isn't that what we've been talking about? Allowing not judge the surface things, right? Don't judge by what you have done. Just allow yourself to go a little deeper. Don't judge by the information that comes in. Just let it come in, and then be able to go a little deeper, okay? Thank you. All the blessings. Thank you. Oh, there's another one. All right, we're going to leave these to the side right here. Okay, so this card is regeneration, and this is 46. Isn't that interesting? Because that was 16 and this is 46. So this is regeneration. And so regeneration is so much about building on our past, which is what we were talking about before, right? Just because we haven't done something yet doesn't mean that we can't do it. It means we haven't yet. And so we don't get those two things confused. We don't confuse haven't with can't. Okay. Now, in fairness, I probably cannot be a basketball player in the NBA. Now, and also, in honesty, I have zero desire. I think basketball is kind of silly, but that's just me personally. But it's not that we can't, it's that we haven't. Okay. And don't get them twisted, right? So regeneration is all about rediscovering who you are and emerging as something new, which is what we are talking about of what do we want to learn in this 23 year, because 23 is all about me, meaning you, all of us individually. What do we want to create, cultivate, and how do we want to connect? This is regeneration. This is taking who we are and emerging as something new, right? When something regenerates, it grows out of the original, right? If you cut your hand and your skin grows back together, it heals, it is regenerating. It is taking the resources of what was already there and growing into something new. Regeneration is all about what the 23 year is going to have in store for us. It's so much about redesigning who we are and how we want to show up in the world. Regeneration should be the hallmark of what we're talking about. Taking who we are and growing into something new, something better from who we already are. It is not to say we're not already amazing, fabulous, wonderful, and perfect, because we are. Because we're creatures of divine light. So there's no way that we could be anything else. Hear me. There is no way that we could be anything else. But how do we take that and grow into something bigger, better, stronger, faster, biotic, right? If you're old enough for the reference. How do we take who we are, who is magnificent and wonderful, spark of divine light, and grow into something more? Grow to the next level, evolving into that soul expansion. That's where we are for the new year. Okay, so this next card is Fork in the Road, and it does come in upside down. And Fork in the Road is number 13, and this does come in upside down. So it is that reminder not to get, all caught up in the shinies, not to get caught up in the drama, not to get caught up in the distractions, right? We talk a lot the last few weeks about not keeping blinders on, but staying in our lane. Staying in our lane so that we are doing the work that we've been given. We are doing the work that is put on our heart from spirit, from our soul, from our higher guidance. We are following our path and we are moving forward with the next best step. We are not worrying about how to get from 0 to the top of Mount Everest. We're just taking the next best step, and we don't get it twisted and we don't get caught up in the fork in the road. We stay on our path, and it isn't about putting on blinders, but it is about staying in our lane, which is a little wider. We stay in our lane. If you've ever gone bowling with kids, they have these bumpers that they can put up, and sometimes they're like little railings, or sometimes they're little inflatables that go in the gutter of the bowling alley so that the ball will stay in the lane. It's not that you can't see what's going on around you, but it does keep your ball from flying off into somebody else's lane or constantly putting you in the gutter. So we stay in our lane, right? We use our bumpers, we stay in our lane, and we do our work. We do the work that's been given to us by spirit, by God, by higher guidance, by our heart. We are doing our work and following our path. We don't get distracted by the shiny things or other people's drama. We stay in our lane, right? Okay, so one more, and this is the mending card. And so this is 52. This card reminds us that there will be healing as we are evolving, but it also reminds us that it's not up to us to do all of it, okay? So I love this card because if you look at it, she's not hanging the garland all by herself. They're doing it together. And so as we said in the beginning tonight, we're talking about if there are relationships or things that haven't healed or mended so far yet in the 22 year, that's okay. You can let that stuff go. It is not your responsibility to heal the world. it is your responsibility to do your part, right? This is, we talk about staying in our lane. You can come to the table of mending. You can come to the table of peace and regeneration and the table of reconciliation. But if the other party is not willing to come to the table, then you are free to leave and go back on your path and back on your way. Okay, you are not required to do or fix everybody, right? You are required or encouraged to continue to stay in your lane and walk forward on your path, taking your next best steps. And if somebody can meet you in the middle, notice how they're both holding on to the scarlet, right? You can work together to heal things. But if they're not ready, that's okay too. That is okay too. Because all we can do is show up, right? We show up with an open heart, with love, and a willingness to listen, and a willingness to grow. And that's all we can do. But other people have to be willing to show up too. And as we have seen, with lots of things going on in our planet right now, there's a whole lot of people that are like, la, 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 la. They don't want to show up with love. They don't want to show up to listen. And that's okay, because it's not our job to fix that. Our job is to continue to spread our love. And eventually, it'll wash over those people. It will. It will. All right. So the card that jumped out was Chop Wood, which is another reminder of us to do our work, do what we have been told to do what is in our heart, what we have planned, stay in your lane, right? We have all the glitters. We have Chop Wood. We have regeneration. We have this reminder of fork in the road. All of these things are the reminders that we are meant to do our jobs. Because what happens, and this is what he talks about in this speech, is when we do our job, we help somebody else to be able to carry that forward to do their job, to be able to bless somebody else and to bless somebody else and bless somebody else. When we don't do our job, it's like pinching off the fire hose, the water hose. The water can't get out. What number is Chop Wood? Chop Wood is 42. When we don't do our job and we veer off and we say, oh, I got to go save this person over there, or I'm going to judge, or any of those things, we cut off the flow of energy. We cut off the flow of the love. And so for us to be able to continue to move forward, staying in our lane, staying in our path, we spread more love. Because you know why? Because when you're on your path and you're doing what you are wanting to learn, create, and cultivate, then you are connecting more richly, more generously, and more love-based with others. And you are connecting with them, which means you are the megaphone of love, spreading out love and pouring out love in all the directions to all the people that you come in contact with. And then they are feeling washed over by love and joy and acceptance. And they are taking that with them to the next person that they connect with love and joy and acceptance, rather than meeting that person with judgment or anger or frustration. So they are taking that love that you shared, and they are sharing it with the next person. So, okay. Monica's in Colombia. Oh, that is so exciting. That is so exciting. Okay. So we're going to leave it there today. I know, I'm sorry. We're not going to do individual cards today. We're just going to leave it there today. And we will do, on Thursday, we'll have meditation right back here. But if you came in late, please do go back and watch the beginning of the video. I asked some really important questions. I definitely want your feedback. I need your feedback. I really want to feel from you or hear from you how we choose to go forward as a community. And what is it that is best, that is going to best serve you and serve us as a community to help us grow and to help us to reach more people. So, thank you. I'm so happy to see you, my dear friend. Enjoy being in Colombia with your family. That is so wonderful. I want to say thank you for all of you who showed up. I'm always so overjoyed to spend time with you today. I know there was a lot in the message in the channel today. And it's giving me a bit of a headache. So I want to go ahead and let them continue to work through me and process through. And the guidance because I see Jess has asked for that, just the guidance is truly to spend some time before 22 is over and to say, what is it I want to learn in 23? What do I want to create and cultivate? How do I want to connect in 23? Because 2023 should be all about me. And again, when I say me, I mean you saying that about yourself. We should be saying, it is about me. What do I want to create and cultivate? What do I want to learn? How do I want to connect with the world? It is so important that we are letting go of whatever it was from 22 that maybe didn't get done or finished or completed or mended or whatever. Leave it alone. Let it sit there. Let it stay in 2022. And when the time is right, it will come forward and find you. But we are right now on this precipice of evolution, of changing who we are into something more. Allow it. Allow it. And if you didn't see the beginning of all of the channeled stuff that came through, I really encourage you to go back to the beginning of the video and check it out. And also, please remember, if you did want to work with me, as there's still some spaces available for 2022. We're booking into 2023 already. You can work with me for a reduced price if you choose to purchase a session with me in December. It's $112.50 instead of $125. So if you do want to work with me individually, just let me know. You can pay me through Venmo or Zelle. The information is on my website at sherrydworkinsmith.com. I would be so honored to set up sessions for you where we can do coaching. I know some of you had asked about coaching, and we do, a mediumship reading or whatever it is that you wanted. Just let me know. It is so my honor to help. But for the month of December, the price will be a little lower, and I'm so happy to share that with you as well. So I hope you have a wonderful rest of your evening, a wonderful rest of your week. For those of you celebrating Hanukkah at the end of the week, we have Hanukkah starting on the 18th on Sunday, but I will look forward to seeing you on Thursday for meditation right back here, 7 o'clock. I hope you have a wonderful evening, and please, as always, know how very much you are loved. Mwah. Love you. Mwah. Have a great evening.